Hey, it's the Bradcast, and I am at State of Comics on Free Comic Book Day. I'm here with Jason Douglas. You have a whole bunch of stuff here, and I want to talk to him about it, and I know you want to know about it too. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well today. It's very nice to be on your show. Thank you very much for having me.
The current Kickstarter is a Jane American.
What we're working on is the art and lettering and coloring for the 120-page original graphic novel that basically tells Jane's entire story.
So, are you the artist, or you're the writer for the story, or parts of both?
Brad, you do not want to see any art that I have ever produced or would ever want to produce. I would not sell a single book. I am an English teacher by trade and a writer on the side by night, fulfilling a long, decades dormant dream of writing comics, something that I've wanted to do since I was 12 years old and finally got the courage to do over 40. I don't think you're supposed to date yourself on things like this, but I just did.
I figured that out when I read your bio, and I'm like, okay, he's a teacher, so add 4 years. He's been teaching for over 20 years. Oh, God, he's in his 40s. Hey, we have something in common.
So, yeah, this has just been like a lifelong dream come true. My very first book, Parallel, was that thing that kind of got me off my butt, got me to write my very first comic script. I had been writing plays for the drama clubs that I was running at the elementary school level and the middle school level. We didn't have a budget. And that irrational confidence that sometimes you get when you don't know better. And I was like, well, I'll just write my own plays for these children. And over a handful of years, got a couple of published and, had some success with that. And then one summer, I just sat down and said, this is wonderful. I love it. But the dream is this other thing. And then again, blissful ignorance and irrational confidence kicks in, and I say, how hard could it be to write a comic book script? And, of course, it's a very different animal and much harder and probably would have scared me away for another couple of decades had I known better. But I sat down and wrote the first half of Parallel. Very atypical story. Don't know the first thing about Kickstarter, wouldn't have known how to do it, and instead took physical copies of the script in a manila envelope from school with colorful paper clips from my desk and a letter, took it to Motor City Comic Con and just started to hunt around for publishers. And again, not how you do comics in the 21st century, not how they're made. First booth I go up to is Source Point Press. First person I talk to just happens to be the founder, president, and editor-in-chief at the time. And just started yapping. And didn't pick up on the body language of this isn't how things are done, just kept on going and going and going. Very much the same way that you have to do with 8th graders every single day to convince them that grammar isn't boring. You just talk until they give in.
And can so relate.
At some point, Travis stops me and goes, it's like you're trying to pitch me a comic in 1971. And either you got a lot of energy and I like the cut of your jib, or you're nuts. Either way, leave this with me, come back tomorrow, and we'll talk. And I came back the next day, and he's like, we're in. This is not how comics are made in the 21st century, but we're in business. Go home, write me a second half. And I did that. Can you do that? And I looked at him straight in the eyes, and I lied, and I said, yes. In the same way that actors say, for your audition, can you ride a horse? Yes, I can. No, they can't. And I just went home, and I worked on the second half, and I had an artist, and this thing came to life. And dropped right in the middle of the pandemic, flopped as hard as a book could do. But again, blissful ignorance saves the day. I didn't know that what you're supposed to do at that point is either move on to the next thing or give up and say, hey, dream fulfilled on some level, but I'm done. Instead, I went on a whirlwind tour of 75 interviews, YouTube, Instagram Live, podcasts, etc., and the book caught on.
So you just got the word out. You just did it the old-fashioned way.
Right. And it sold out. SourcePoint had to buy back copies from stores to meet the online demand. And it got me 2 Ringo nominations, Best Writer and Best English Year Story. So I fly out to Baltimore. I get to give a speech. I get to present some awards. And then I gracefully sat down and lost both categories to the guy who writes Batman. Because you can't defeat Batman. But garnered a special edition. So what I'm selling the last copies of, because I've been touring this for about a year and now I'm on to Jane, 60 bonus pages, including the original graphic novel, annotated script pages, annotated concept art, cover gallery, a bonus 8-page story exclusive to this edition that dives back between the panels of the original book. Big fan of getting these out to people. It's a dark sci-fi twisted tale, kind of in the vein of an episode of Black Mirror or Twilight Zone.
My favorite.
Begs the question of you, the reader, what price would you pay for a second chance at all the dreams you thought you left behind forever?
I was thinking that while I was cooking dinner last night, as a matter of fact. It's like, would I sell my soul to the devil? Devil doesn't exist. I'm stuck with this. Hi! So, tell me about Jane American.
So Jane is 32-page, one-shot comic.
Is this the same book?
This is the same book, so these are like my different covers. This is the Con and Show exclusive cover that my interior artist, 22-year-old Annie Wright from Indiana, going to Ball State for graphic design, did. She's the interior artist. This is her Scream cover. This is the Malia Ewart cover. She is now a lead animator for Disney. Caught her in between her DreamWorks animation or Disney animation jobs. We got some variations on that too. But this is a 32-page one-shot comic set in historic Plymouth, where we stand right now, World War II era, okay? And Jane is a young protagonist who is going and has enough responsibility for anybody her age in that time, kind of living a life of stability and family and hope until she isn't. Until war literally brings tragedy to her front doorstep and everything changes. Until she changes in unbelievable ways that are better left hidden.
No spoilers.
But the economic hardships of the end of the war, when dad doesn't come home and mom's no longer allowed to be a Rosie, have kind of left her with a choice. She can stay safe, she can stay hidden, or she can embrace who she truly is and what she can truly do for the sake of everybody that she loves. Now, this book, even though it's got some universal relatable themes about identity, about self-fulfillment, about self-worth, it's still a very personal book to me because it is named after and very much dedicated to my late grandmother, who struggled with some of those same gender and identity strictures that Jane does, but 80 years ago. It's also very much dedicated to every student who's gone through my classroom in the last 2+ decades who still struggle with those same questions of identity, even in the 21st century. But it's also very much dedicated to my late grandfather, who made it to 99 years old, World War II veteran, and my last promise to him was that the book that holds the likeness and name of his high school sweetheart would see print, and that's what we're sitting here today. So that's my promise to him. My promise to anybody who wants to get a copy of Jane American from me is that it will break your heart, it will make you cheer, and it will leave you with a cliffhanger ending that's going to have you begging for that 120-page graphic novel that hits at the end of this year.
Okay, you're teasing me now.
Absolutely, that's my job.
I'll tell you what. I would I can totally tell you're an English teacher.
Yeah.
And you remind me of my English teacher in, was it 9th grade? James Briggs. He would run and jump across the room. He taught us all the things that are on the Don't Read This list and Macbeth.
Nice.
And he would do all the voices, and he made us do all the voices and read all these things. And I am so happy for your students that they have somebody that can do this and bring comic books into the classroom and make it something that is fun for you and fun for them.
My first 13 years as a public educator were in the elementary school classroom, 3rd graders and 4th graders. And in the early 2000s, before comics were a bit more ubiquitous in classrooms and they were a go-to for librarians and classroom teachers for reluctant readers, it just didn't exist yet. And I remember being very frustrated in my first couple of years of those kids who, because there's such a stigma attached to reading something below your grade level, that like during like silent reading time, you'd see them with like a 1,000-page young adult novel, reading it backwards or upside down, rather than something that's appropriate for their grade level. And there just wasn't really a good answer. You couldn't put a Bernstein Bears in front of them in 4th grade and expect them to say, yeah, this is cool for me. And I banged my head against a wall for almost a year or two before I realized that the answer was literally in a bunch of long boxes at my house, just screaming at me like, idiot, it's comics. And it kind of perfectly coincided with the same time that Scholastic bought the rights to Jeff Smith's Bone and started publishing that, and Marvel had their Marvel Age series, and I just started hitting shops and hitting like the Scholastic Warehouse sale every year and just buying graphic novels and comics that were age appropriate for kids, and it was like magic. Suddenly, because for kids, there's no stigma attached to a comic. Doesn't matter what reading level it is. You could put something that is literally designed for a 1st grader or a kindergartner in a 4th grader's hand, and because it's a comic, it's suddenly cool, and they're doing the work that no teacher on the planet could make them do. And it was like a beautiful thing, and it just changed. It literally changed lives, and
yours too.
Absolutely. Now, convincing the parents was something else entirely. So I had to take like a bit more of a scientific approach. Like I found all these studies online that showed, how much brain power is used while reading a graphic novel versus reading prose, because it's firing up 2 different parts of your brain. Or a study out of UNC Chapel Hill that showed how this could be beneficial for a reluctant reader. Kids, I didn't have to fight at all. Kids were just like, you've got this. You've got a bigger library in your classroom than we have at our public library or in our school library. We're coming to you to read, even though we didn't like to read a day ago. So absolutely life-changing for a lot of people, and something I've clearly embraced since, because, this book right here is something that I also want to put in hands of anybody who's interested in the story, but young people as well, because of that positive message of self-worth and self-identity.
Because the second only to English, the hardest subject that nobody pays attention to is history.
Right.
Last question, because we've talked about a lot of things and learning and all this. Is listening to an audiobook reading?
100%.
Aha! See? A teacher said that. I have proof.
100%. I don't know semantically how you make the words jive. And I get how you can make the argument because it isn't reading, but it is, okay? Look, if I can scientifically and mathematically prove that reading an Andy Rutten Owley book, which is designed for like pre-readers, where everything coming out of the word balloons are actually pictographs, and like every reading scientist on the planet is going, yes, it's reading because that's all that it is. It's transferring symbol into meaning. Well, so is listening to those words. I got a ton of kids right now in 8th grade we're doing The Outsiders this minute, right? The greatest book for teenagers, about teenagers, written by a teenager. And about, a third of my class is reading along while they're listening along. It's if the literature is getting in your head, if it's making that impact, you're reading.
Thank you, Jason. That's about a 3-parter, everybody. I just need you to know I enjoyed it. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time. I will be back to purchase my copy of the books. I am interested. I have a grandmother work Depression era story too that really is a near and dear to my heart, and I'm very happy I stopped by. So, Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi people, you got all kinds of exciting things going on here. A super long interview, and I'm still smiling, so huzzah! Happy Free Comic Books Day, and we'll see you next time.